Welcome everybody to another Brand Doctor podcast episode for you guys. I have another amazing individual with me today, and we are going to be talking about funnels. Sales and marketing funnels, for those of you guys that don't know what funnels are. And we have Rachel Pedersen with us today. What is going on, Rachel?
Hi, Henry. Thanks for having me.
So I realized that you're from Minnesota, and I was like, I'd never been to Minnesota before, but I heard it's really warm up there.
No, I think someone lied to you. I think you lied.
Oh, man. So it's so funny. I've been hearing your name quite a bit recently. And there was some communication on Facebook. We were looking for some podcast interviews to jump on. I was looking for some female entrepreneurs to showcase on my show. It was a beautiful, beautiful connection. And here we are.
Absolutely.
So
I love it.
So I want to get into this relationship funnel you got going on. But first, I want to talk about how you got into the funnel game to begin with and why you're so passionate about it.
Absolutely. So funnels are something that I am super passionate about because what I realized when I started my business was that the things I was doing were not very scalable, which I think is a huge part of building your business in the beginning. And I had no clue. I'm going to be honest. A couple of years ago, I had no clue how to be an entrepreneur, how to build a profitable business, how to scale your services, how to hire. I'm brand new to the entrepreneur game in the last 2.5 years. And one of the things that I knew was how to connect with people. That was all I knew. I was like, okay, I know relationships. I knew a little bit about social media. And so I was like, what if I just focus on what I know? And that's connecting with people. And I decided to just go all in on that. And so fast forward about 1.5 years, and I was introduced to this person named Russell Brunson in the world of ClickFunnels. And I realized that yes, funnels were really powerful. It was a great software that gives you the ability to leverage your skills, leverage your knowledge. But the coolest part about it was I also saw this kind of cool correlation between relationship and funnels and what your funnel needs to bring in the beginning in order to bring somebody to the point of sale and then continuing up your value ladder.
I love it. I love it. So ClickFunnels is simply a tool that folks use to help them bring them through the sales process.
That's pretty much what it is. And coupled with relationship, suddenly you have a business that explodes.
I love it. So talk to me about relationships, because branding, relating this all to branding, branding is building relationships. Branding is that gut feeling that people get when they interact with you and your business and how you are perceived, right? So how important, obviously this is kind of a dumb question, but how important is relationships in the sales process and the funnel building process and the process that you take people from getting to know you and then actually getting to buy from you?
Oh my gosh, it's everything. So now, granted, I'm sure we all have seen people where it's just all sales all the time. It's sale. And there's never any relationship built. And what happens is those people, you get so burnt out on them. And I was seeing this happen over and over again. It's when you get the 5 emails in one day from someone who's selling, or an email every single day and all they're ever doing is selling, and you're just burnt out. You're like, what the heck? They do not care about me at all. And you walk away disillusioned about the industry, the person, the products and services that I'm sure that they have that deliver value. So one of the things that I did is I stepped back and I decided to view things through the eyes of someone who might be on my email list or someone who could be in my Facebook group. What are their goals? What are their thoughts? What keeps them up at night? What are they thinking about? When I'm up late and I'm stressing about something, or, I forget to eat for a whole day and I end up eating Taco Bell at, midnight. When those things happen, are they experiencing those same things? And how can I relate to that person with that exact story. And so as I started to kind of step back and say, what does my audience, what does my follower, what does my person, what do they feel? That's where that connection of relationship suddenly becomes this beautiful bridge. It makes it a lot easier to do everything from sending and writing your emails to building out a funnel, creating offers, because you're intimately aware of what your audience needs.
I love it. And I preach this with my clients as well. I mean, how do you expect to put the right message in front of the right people if you don't know who those right people are, right?
Yes.
And what their challenges are, what are their pains, what keeps them up at night. And I use this 70, 20, 10 rule. And it's 70% of the time, I am actually doing all my research and homework on the folks that I want to do business with and I want to help. 20% of the time is actually communicating, right? And 10% of the time is actually working with them. Right. And so you have to understand that the more you know about your audience, the more that they're going to feel like you get them. And so, Rach, that makes so much sense. But people like to do everything ass backwards, I noticed. You know, they want to go right into the straight sell. They want to go into talking about themselves and how they're so awesome, you know, but they never start to ask those questions.
It burns your audience out. It's the craziest thing. I see people a lot who launch products and they're disappointed with what they see. They say, why is no one buying this? Why? I thought this was going to be a hit. I did the right steps. I did the launch formula. I did this. I did that. I have a funnel. Why is nothing working? Well, it's because exactly what you said. You did it backwards. You created the product and then just decided, how do I get people to the product? Instead of saying, who are the people? And when you know who your people are, it's easier to write copy. Hello, you get into the greens, right?
Oh my God. It's funny you say that. So I do a daily email. People think I'm absolutely crazy, but my list has grown exponentially since I started doing these daily emails. And they're very much like what Russell calls like the Seinfeld email, if you will. But I have to tell you, ever since I started doing that, the connection I have with my audience has only gotten more intimate, and I've only gotten more sales from it. And the funny thing is, I don't want to lose my train of thought. We were talking about, what were we talking about?
Knowing your audience makes it easier to write the copy.
Yes, there we go. Perfect. Yep. Thank you. So when I really started to practice the research and the pain points and the challenges, I began writing my emails so direct and so in tune. Yes. It was like, people are like, are you underneath my couch? Right? So real quick, we are doing this for those that are listening to this on the podcast. We are doing this via Facebook Live. So we have a bunch of questions in the comments here that I want to get to. Paul Sabay has a great question. You know, what was your process for getting into the business? You know, was the idea build a fan page with content, then product, or did you start with product in hopes of scaling?
Not at all. I started as a social media manager, so it was services, and I knew that there was bound to be business owners that needed social media. So I started to connect with lots of business owners, but then fast forward to when I got into education, because that was where I really honed in on the relationship funnel. First and foremost, I actually thought, okay, who do I believe this is going to serve? Who do I want to deliver value to? And here's the craziest part. At first, I had a theory, and when I first launched my Social Media United, I launched it to entrepreneurs thinking they wanted to learn social media and this was going to be helpful. And according to all my research, that's what they needed. But then when I opened the doors to Social Media United, it was 80% social media managers that joined. So I had to make a decision. Am I going to try to rebrand and refocus? Am I going to pull the plug? Am I going to try to force something that isn't fitting? Or am I going to step back and say that social media manager that I was a year ago getting started, can I help that person? Because I know what I struggled with and they're struggling with the same things. And they're saying, Rachel, how do you do a proposal? How do you find clients? How do you secure a client? How do you know if you're crazy? Like those kind of questions. Am I crazy? Is the client crazy? Who's crazy? Those kind of things suddenly transformed the relationship because every single person who was in Social Media United was like, she gets it. She gets me.
You know, it's funny you say that because I've noticed a influx of a certain type of client recently in my business. And so I started out as a graphic designer 10 years ago. And now I have this business that it just evolved and matured into this branding agency. And it's incredible. The clients that I'm working with and the lives that we're changing is just nuts. But to ever think that a one-man band graphic designer creative was going to have something like this today is just mind-blowing to me. But one of the things that I've started to get was tons of designers coming to me for consultation. And the way I look at it is we're all on this journey together, right? And so we're all trying to get to wherever we want to go. Like, I don't necessarily think of our entrepreneurial journey as there is a destination. I think it's just a constant trek, right? And we enjoy the benefits as we get to certain points in our career, right? Yeah. And so I always say, like, you don't need to know everything, and nobody knows everything. But like, I have a mentor who's been in the business 22 years. And he has the same exact business I have. And I pay him a ton of money because he's made all the mistakes and and he has that wisdom. He's like my Yoda, right? And so he's over here, right? And then there's me. And then there's folks over here behind me that are a few chapters behind. And those folks are now coming to me going, what's your process? How do you do this? I want to know all the mistakes that you made so I don't have to make them and all of that. And so it makes sense that these managers are coming to you because you walk the walk, you talk the talk. Yes. And it was funny. I was talking to someone not too long ago. I think it was Kyle DeSoto, great guy, by the way, when it comes to video. And he had said to me, when we're out there as entrepreneurs trying to help our community, 9 times out of 10, we have a tendency to help those that are very similar to us. And I heard about that. I thought about it and I said, he's absolutely right. Like, there's a lot of solopreneurs out there or small businesses out there that are all that have the same values as I do, that are looking at me and looking at you as being a few chapters ahead, of them. And why not, learn from those folks? The pet peeve I have is the folks that aren't quite qualified. Yeah. Right. To really get out there and sell their expertise because they've been in the game for a minute, if the big picture, right? And they're really ruining it for folks like us because, here we are that, we put in the work, we put in the time, and maybe we're the stupid ones, right? but what drives me crazy is those folks that are getting the attention but not delivering. And I have a huge, I don't know. I just have a huge gripe, and that's a story for another day. But let's continue on the conversation. But I think there is a few questions before we get into that. So hold on one second. Let me see, because very active group today. Henry, your camera setup is sick. Thank you, Nadeem. I appreciate it. Paul Sabay again. Rachel, did you know coding when you got started, and how much do you outsource?
Oh my gosh. No, I don't know coding. I'm I'm technically quick. I can pick things up. But I spend hours watching YouTube videos and everything. But thankfully I have not had to learn coding. That's where I'm really thankful for ClickFunnels and for funnels, because I can't code. Now, that being said, back in the days of MySpace, I would figure out how to make the right tweaks to my MySpace page. So I was able to figure out basic coding just through watching tutorials online. But no, I definitely am not a coder. I would never want to try to fully code anything, and you wouldn't want to see what I would do. So when it comes to outsourcing, I have an amazing team. I think I want to say 12 people on my team between my two businesses, between my agency and my university. So I outsource a decent amount. I will say I need to outsource more, and I know that. I'm pretty close to finally letting go and being like, all right, take some more. I need your help. So I outsource things that are not my zone of genius. Anything with tech integrations, I struggle with figuring them out. right, tech, like it gives us all the heebie-jeebies. I outsource that. If my brain is not in a space where I can write copy, I outsource copy. That's a big thing. I'm either in a place where I'm thriving and excited and ready, or I'm not. Graphic design is something I can throw together quickly, but my stuff isn't beautiful. So anytime that a project is important, I'm going to outsource the graphic design. So my biggest thing is how important is this? Is this essential? What is the timeline? Am I in the right space for it? If I'm not in the right space, cool, I'll outsource it. And I will say I'm 8.5 months pregnant. So right now I am living on outsourcing.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
That is awesome. We just had we just had our first baby 7 months ago. So he's just a doll. Yeah. Yes. Drives us a little crazy sometimes, but it's so worth it.
It's completely worth it. Yes.
Oh man. Well, that is amazing. And that's so exciting. Is that your first?
No, this is my third and final. We're done. I'm so excited.
So you're a pro at this.
Oh, it's easy. That's why I was able to speak at Funnel Hacking Live 8.5 months pregnant. I wasn't scared because I was like, if I have the baby, I have the baby. What a cool marketing angle.
What a story that would be.
Go ahead.
So we have some more questions. Brian Sherman has a great question. What is the most important with a funnel? Copy, layout, creative? I can chime in here too when you're done, but in your opinion.
Okay, so I'm actually going to say none of the above. I'm just going to say keep it simple. I know that sounds funny, but I see people like spending way too much time on a funnel that they haven't tested. And one of the biggest things that's going to show you whether or not a funnel works is putting it in front of your warmest markets first and then seeing how they react to it. And so I'm going to go with headline on that one. That's my gut. My gut says headline. I've had some ugly funnels that have performed very, very well. I
read that on your website.
Yes. I'm like, you know what? I am fine with that. There were people who were like, you need to change your website before Funnel Hacking Live. And I was like, I probably do. I'm not going to. So I would say like the headline, as long as the headline showcases the offer, and then the offer needs to meet the needs of your market. And if those couple of things align, I feel like it's going to perform. And then from there, I would split test a lot of different things.
I agree. Well, what you said there at the end was the best. It was making sure that your offer aligns with the need. I mean, that is the most important part of the funnel. Yeah. That besides copy, besides design, besides any of that, right? The other thing that I want to add to that is convenience and user experience. So I'm a creative, so I'm always looking at those types of things, right? You definitely want to catch the eye. And I think the more polished you can look, the better. I mean, it's just you're going to be perceived as a more professional, more polished, more credible. You know, that's given. That's a given. But I do agree with what you said on your blog and what Jodine Bergstrom said here in the feed is you just got to get out there and do. Yes. And listen, if you would have saw my website and my design work 10 years ago, you'd run for the hills. Yes. Right? But you evolve and you grow and you become better. And I never went to school for this. I taught myself everything. Wow. You know? So it's amazing how if you just stick with it, you know, you will definitely see a natural progression, you know, in everything that you do. So Brian says, what are some good numbers to look for when testing and how many views versus click-throughs? I got to jump in here real quick. At the end of the day, Bri, it's this. How much did it make you in sales?
Yes, absolutely. When it comes to numbers, I agree with what you're saying 100%. What the numbers do is it allows you to see the breakdown points. So if you can look at a funnel, a lot of people don't even know their numbers and they're like, I'm making money. That's all that matters. That's okay. But if you're not making money, you can look at different things. Like, is it expensive to get in front of my audience? If so, maybe it's not the right message to the right audience. Are they clicking through? If not, you're not aligning. They're not compelled to take action. Then you go to the funnel. Are they converting on the first step of the funnel? If they're not, it's not the right funnel step. You have to change things up, split test something totally different, maybe a different offer. Are they taking the upsell? If they're not, then, so numbers and data are great, but what they do is they kind of give you an indication of whether or not something's working. I have one funnel that has converted at like 1 or 2% before, and it is a very profitable funnel. And I've had other funnels that have converted at 75%, and the cost that it takes to get people to the funnel isn't worth the product price, if that makes sense. So there's all of these different tweaks that you can take on every single step of the Facebook ad, the funnel, the traffic source, whatever it is, that will improve it. But I love your answer. Are you making money?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, bottom line, right? So Matthew Wise has a long question here. I want to just make sure I could get to it. What's the key to selling a physical product through ClickFunnels? And what's the key factor to overcoming the trust factor of not being on a full website? Okay. I have this idea in my mind that people don't trust a landing page for a product as much as a website. Am I in the wrong mindset?
Potentially. I will say I know a lot of funnels and landing pages that have made a lot of people a lot of money. One of my clients, or one of my former clients, she went from $4,000 months to $280,000 months with a landing page. And one of the things that you have to do is step back. Who is your market? What does your market need? So it's back to that original idea of relationship. Here's the issue I see. People will be like, I have this pair and I want to solve this pair. And so how do I get people to buy this pair? Wait, hold on. I have something that this audience wants. Why do they want it? Because it makes them feel this. Now, everything in your marketing centers around that. So instead of just focusing on, can I make money? No, how do you improve the lives of those people you want to reach? So when Russell says like you have to be absolutely obsessed with marketing entails getting to know your market. Yeah,
100%, 1,000%. And I love the comparison there with the pair. When you solve a problem, that's how I've been taught. You know, if you can solve a problem for someone, you're going to win. And so the key is, I'll share with you an example, and I'll share with Matt an example. So I sell branding, I sell design, I sell identity, I sell strategy, I sell all those things, right? But one thing that I was falling on deaf ears when I would speak, you want to build your brand? You want to brand that connects, and I kept saying brand. And I kept getting the like people's eyes would just glaze over because they just didn't understand brand. I changed the word brand to business, and it converted like crazy, and the amount of attention that I began to get was astronomical. So you want to build your business? Of course I do. You want a business that connects with your target audience? Of course I do. So it's wordsmithing. Like when I was out to lunch today with a colleague, and I said the exact same story to him, and he was just like, you have to get savvy with the wordsmithing and find out what connects. And Nadim Ahmad said the same thing, speak their language. And Rachel Miller yesterday on our podcast, she said something, I have it still written down here. She said, make your content about your people.
Yes, absolutely.
It's huge. You know, if you can get that, if you can talk about them and with them, about them, that's what's going to ultimately connect the two of you together. It's going to connect your business to them. And then they're going to say, you know what? I need you. It was funny. One of my followers here was watching a podcast episode we did last week with Jennifer Goodwin. And she's, as the podcast and the Facebook Live wasn't even over yet, and I saw my Stripe account hit, and she booked a discovery session with me, and when we got on the phone, she said, you know, I've been following you a while, and you make me feel like I need you. And I said, why do you think that? She says, well, you obviously walk the walk, you talk the talk, and you show up in my feed every freaking day. You know, and she was like, and then she went on and she was just like, I am absolutely clueless on how to get started. And, you know, I've been through funnels before and there's so much noise. I'm getting bombarded with people constantly saying, download this and take this course and do this and do that. I am frozen. I don't know what to do. And the reason why I paid for this session is because I feel like you can help me get to the next level. And I was like, bam. So, you know, this is what happens when you start to speak your audience's language. So I know we kind of talked about, I just got to be careful of time as I have a client call in 20 minutes, but where do you think most people go wrong when it comes to building their funnels and trying to use funnels to get people to buy from them or just to get onto their list? And, you know, where's everyone going wrong?
It's honestly, I'm going to go back to the relationship funnel. It's that they have this thought that if they build it, they will come. And there's this idea that if you put together some course, it's just going to sell like crazy. And I see people say, okay, I'll use myself as an example. I built a funnel. This is a really funny story. I built a funnel for golf tees, like tees, like the ones that you put in the ground. And I was like, I'm going to create this awesome program called Autopilot Golf. Okay, so A, I know nothing about golf. B, I'm not passionate about golf. C, I don't really do physical products. I market them, but I don't do them. And I just threw this funnel together and I was like, technically it's a perfect funnel. But the thing is, when you're driving someone there, and this actually goes back to the last question of, do you feel like people are skeptical of landing pages? Yes, if you're taking cold traffic and just sending them to a landing page and they know nothing about you and you haven't nurtured them and there's no content on your Facebook page, yeah, they're going to wonder. So the biggest thing that I see is though people just build it out and expect it's just going to fall into place and everything's going to work. You have to become so obsessed with your product, with your offer, with your people, with the whole process of marketing that it's all you can think about. You can't just throw something together and expect the massive brand to come together.
Yeah, I totally agree. And just to get, again, it's doing your homework, it's doing your research. And one of the amateur mistakes I made when I was growing my firm was when somebody would be like, I need a logo, I'd be like, all right, let's get to work. I need a website. All right, cool, let's get to work. And I would ask, you know, very high level questions. And then I would start designing, right? And what I come to find out was I had no idea what their target audience was. I had no idea what their audience even wants, needs, what their challenges are, any of that. And the homework was not done. And that's a very amateur mistake that people make when they get into business. Creatives such as myself that are trying to get more client work, you know, it sucks because you want to help. Like we're built to help. And so we want to get in there and help as fast as we can, as efficient as we can. But really what we're doing is shooting ourselves in the foot. And so now when people come to me and they say, I need a logo, I need a website, I need a funnel built, I call timeout because 9 times out of 10, they're coming to me self-diagnosing themselves as needing this particular thing. When I start to ask my questions and go real deep, we realize that it's not the funnel, it's not the logo, it's not the website, right? And I don't even touch design work anymore without my clients going through a discovery program and diagnosis program with me. And if they don't sign up for that, that's fine. There's other designers out there, there's other people out there would love to just dive in on design work. But what's going to happen is it's going to be built on false pretenses. It's going to be built on sand versus a solid foundation, and you're not going to get the results that you're looking for. And that's why I say we got to do the unsexy stuff first. We have to do that discovery. We have to do that legwork first before you get into the design phase and build out. I do want to say something to Matt though, in regards to look and feel of the actual pages, and I'm partial because I'm a designer and I take full responsibility for that. But the one thing I want you guys to pay attention to is credibility. And so, you know, I consider myself a premium guy. I'm not cheap by any means, and neither are you. I saw your prices on your website, and I value that and I appreciate that. And that tells me you really know your stuff and you really know your value. And so what I want to say to this is, when I come to a landing page or a website that looks outdated, slapped together, looks like you did it yourself, I become immediately skeptical on the quality of service or the quality of that product. That is just me, okay? I can't speak for everybody. If you're selling a $2 product, listen, your website could look $2 if you want, because it's $2, right? But if you're selling a high-end, something high-end or something somewhat premium, you bet your ass your look and feel of your brand better look premium. I mean, the reason why I've become this premium sort of brand and business is because, God, it was about 7 years ago, I had this big company come to me. They were in the food industry. Yes. Food distribution industry, and they were looking for a total rebrand. And they came to me and they said, you know, you were referred by a vendor, and they spoke very highly of you, but when we came to your website, it looked a little outdated, and and I was like floored. I was like, I took it personal. I was like, I'm a designer. My site should be a rate. So it was like $100,000 contract. And so we had a couple of conversations. I thought things were going great. I submitted my proposal, and they turned me down. And I said, all right. So I got pretty chummy with the secretary of the vice president. And I said, why did they turn me down? You know, I just want to learn from it so I can grow. Yeah. And she said, when we looked at your website, it didn't look credible. And I was just heartbroken. Yes. And it was like that day, I was like, let's go. We're getting the best branding. We're getting the best designers. We're getting the best team put together to never let that happen again. Yes. And so I just forewarn you guys to pay attention to that. When you're first starting out, I get it. We all have to start somewhere. And again, I'm a big proponent of that. Just start. But as you continue to grow, you need to level up at the end of the day. So some more questions for you. Well, this one's for me. I'm doing too much talking, Paul. Ask Rachel a question. He just says, Henry, in your discovery to diagnose a client, do you have key points you want them to hit? Yes. I want to know, first and foremost, I want to know if we're a good fit, because I am not a good fit for everyone. And what I want to know is, I want to make sure that there is a need for what it is that they're looking for me to help them solve. And if they're on, Pluto and I'm on Mars, it's not going to work. So I want to make sure that we're aligned with what exactly needs to be done in order for them to get the result that they want.
Same thing with funnels, Facebook ads, every single thing. There's so many times where people come to me and they say, I've hired Facebook ad person after Facebook ad person and nothing works. There's a reason. Something isn't hitting. Yeah. Now, they could have just hired a bunch of cheap Facebook ad people, so you have to decide and diagnose if that's the case. But oftentimes, maybe their funnel doesn't convert at all. Maybe their offer is wrong. Maybe their audience is off. And so you have to look at all of those different things. That's where that data comes into play, and you can look at every single step within that process. But yeah, it's not always right.
Yeah, I think the answers are right underneath our noses. I'm a big proponent of that. And we just have to ask the right questions to get the right answers, and then just do what we need to do to get in front of the right people. I mean, we have the tools, ClickFunnels, Facebook ads. I mean, the tech is overwhelming. The tools are overwhelming. It's getting that relationship right. And that's where I want to drive this home and sort of round out this conversation, is without great relationships, you will not have a converting funnel. You will not have a great brand. You will not have a great business. And that's where the world is going, guys. Like 5 years ago, when everybody was opting into everything and watching 50 hours of webinar a week, you know, I think that ship sailed.
Totally. People are only doing the things that they need to do most. They're cutting out the noise, which is good. That's beneficial. That means that now more than ever, if your messaging aligns with your market, oh my gosh, now you have a straight line of communication because they won't unsubscribe from your emails.
That's it. And just keep showing up. Like, one thing about you is you're very consistent, which is fantastic.
Thank you.
You want to stay top of mind. You want to stay in front of the eye. And you want to make sure that you're consistently demonstrating your expertise. And when you demonstrate your expertise, like coming on podcasts like this and showcasing your knowledge and wisdom, like, people are going to say, all right, they walk the walk, they talk the talk, they're doing this every single day. Like, that's what's up. Like, I trust them. And if you can be the least risky option,
yes,
who do you think they're going to buy from?
The person that's visible, the person they see, the person that they trust is going to deliver consistent value.
Boom.
I love all of this.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yes,
So I saw a bunch of questions in the comments, but we got to wrap up. Rachel, thank you so much for coming on the show today and just being freaking awesome. 8.5 months pregnant, and with your energy and your expertise and your knowledge, you've drilled in and drilled down on some really great points here. I'm having a difficulty trying to figure out what to name this episode.
The relationship funnel.
God.
I just made your life so much easier.
For those that want to get into your world and into your funnel, if you will, where can they find you?
Easiest place to find me is my website, rachelpedersen.com, and my last name is all E's and a D.
Awesome. Rachel, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Facebook, thank you so much for interacting and the great questions. Keep them coming. This was an amazing, amazing episode. For those of you guys who haven't subscribed to the Brand Doctor podcast yet, please do. If you haven't shared it with a friend or a colleague, I thank you in advance. And I will continue to bring you heat and value every single day to help you build a great business and a great brand. So I'll catch you on the next episode, guys. Take care.